Well, welcome back, you guys. Welcome back to The Way with Jazz and Tay. Before our break, we dove into the Megan Thee Stallion and Tory Lane situation. We also had a couple of our listeners call in and give their takes as well. And that was really fun. So
Yeah.
thank you guys for calling. I love that. We should definitely do that again.
And I really
Um,
love to hear while they were both saying not the way, the variant perspective, like the points that they
yes,
brought up from
very
each
much
side.
so. Yes, very much so. So now that we're back, we are going to jump into our hot topic, which is the grand jury indictment, Breonna Taylor's case, as well as the debates that happened on Tuesday, which was a whole mess. And then the nomination for Supreme Court Justice Amy Coney Barrett. Barnett? I don't
Barnett.
know.
It's Barnett.
Whatever it is. I'm hoping that it won't be relevant for much longer. So wishful thinking.
Tell us how you
Yeah.
really feel.
But so last week we did a rerun of our episode with the cast of Ujuma's Village, and so we didn't really get to talk about the Breonna Taylor indictment because that was really fresh as of last week. So because there are more developments since the verdict has been released, we are taking this opportunity to talk about it and give our take on it because it honestly affected me more. It's weird. I wasn't surprised,
Yeah.
but it still kind of got to me. Like I was still very upset that of course you didn't let me down, like
I think that's how I felt. Like I felt very sobered by it. Like
yes,
I saw everybody like I'm just really affected by this, and I was just kind of like, what did you guys actually expect? A Hail Mary? Because like
yeah,
it was never going to happen. Like and I think that that's what makes me sad is that I felt that pessimistic about it. I was like, they will not do the right thing because in this entire time they have not done the right thing.
right,
Like,
right,
why do we expect them to all of a sudden change course and do
right.
something right? Like,
Um, so for those of you who don't know, I don't know why you or how you don't know at this point, but only one officer was charged, and it was actually for wanton endangerment, and that was for the shots that were fired into neighboring apartment units.
so not even the 10 shots that killed Breonna, but the ones that missed her. Okay,
Yes,
let's put that into perspective.
yes. So naturally, we were furious, and the majority of the country was furious. There was, of course, protests. An officer or two did actually end up getting shot in Louisville or
Two
Kentucky. I don't remember.
two
Two.
officers were shot in Louisville. Yep.
Yes. So it was, yeah, it was a whole mess. A day before the reading of the indictment, they had declared a state of emergency
Called in the
um,
National Guard.
because we knew that it wasn't going to be what we wanted to hear, and so that alone honestly kind of instilled some fear because this was the day before. It's like you guys are preparing for civil unrest.
For war.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So now we want to talk about Daniel Cameron.
So since then, everybody
Sorry,
was kind of
sorry, go
wondering,
ahead.
like, why didn't you charge all three officers with something, right?
Yes.
So they've asked for the indictment hearing recordings to be released to the public
Mhm.
so that we can hear what was said, what was done, what charges were actually being charged, what wasn't, what was what essentially.
Mhm.
And the judge told Daniel Cameron that he had until yesterday at noon to do so. Well, yesterday, maybe it
Came
was
and went.
Tuesday, Daniel Cameron was like, hey, actually, I want to corrupt all the files. Can I have a week extension to push out this recording?
And that doesn't make any sense. Why? That doesn't make any sense.
So the
And
reports say that he wants to redact personal details of officers that testified or were like witnesses or there. But you guys, I've got to be pessimistic. I feel like he's trying to doctor the files. He's trying
absolutely.
to get rid of any wrongdoing on his side or his office's side.
So that's absolutely what I said, because here's the thing. There's been reports released since about, because a juror stepped forward and is actually filing a suit, a civil
Yes.
suit or something, because that's the whole reason why these recordings are now asking to be released. And
Yes.
so there were 2 points here in which I wanted to highlight. The man, Daniel Cameron, claimed, quote unquote, that the killing was justified because the officers were fired upon and were only returning fire. But the grand jury might not have necessarily agreed with this.
Right.
Okay. So there's that being one thing that he's not being honest about. And then he's made claims that the officers did in fact identify themselves and weren't necessarily performing a no-knock. Well, all but one witness have said that they don't ever remember hearing anything like that.
And that's not been what it's ever been.
Exactly.
I mean, even her boyfriend has corroborated that they did not announce themselves, which is why he even fired the shots to
In the
begin with,
first place.
because of her ex-boyfriend, and he thought there was trouble coming. I just think this is a mess.
Yes.
And they're about to try to cover this whole thing up. I'm really extremely disappointed in Daniel Cameron, and I'm extremely disappointed in Louisville. I'm extremely disappointed in the Louisville Metro Police Department, because I'm sorry. If it weren't homicide or murder one, obviously it wasn't premeditated. It was negligent,
Right.
on all parties.
Yeah.
You didn't go there necessarily to kill anybody. You went there to arrest someone who was already at the jail. Where was the
Right.
communication there?
Right.
One. And now someone who's not even involved is dead, and you guys aren't even going to seek or try to get her justice. But you guys want us to believe in the justice system and in police.
And we could, if we wanted to, talk more about this particular officer,
Right.
because he has a history of not being a very good officer.
Abusing
And
his power and
yes,
everything.
so that within itself is a whole different issue that needs to be addressed and talked
Right.
about. But we don't have time for that today.
We don't have time for any of it.
We need to quickly move on and discuss this first presidential debate that unfolded on Tuesday.
Absolutely.
We were going to jokingly kind of like make it a drinking game and have fun with it. And then within the first 5 minutes, we realized, oh, we're going to get hammered.
Right.
We're getting drunk.
Bodies will hit the floor if we play it like that.
It was literally just like a bickering match. A lot of talking over. Trump acted very much like I expected. He was very disrespectful, made inappropriate jokes. He came for Biden's son, which was
it was so uncalled for.
My heart hurt, and you could see Biden was hurt by that.
I
But
think
he handled
Biden,
that
had it
so
not been
well.
on a national stage, would have probably slapped
Yeah.
the, what I'm trying to say, out of Trump.
Yes.
And I would not have blamed him.
Him making fun of Biden for wearing a mask often. I'm sorry, he's setting a great example for the country because we're still living through a pandemic.
Right.
Not to mention that he refused to denounce white
supremacy. So that's the real talking point.
Once that question was asked, we were quiet. We were all pointing at the TV okay, this is it. This is what it is. And then he was like, well, give me a name. What do you want to call them? I'll do it. And they were like, white supremacists. Call them what they are, sir.
Right. Ooh. And he said, and instead of saying, I denounce them, I'm not with them, he said, stand down and stand by. Now, what the heck does that mean? He has already said he is not peacefully going to transfer power if he loses. So stand by means if I lose this election,
right,
be ready for war?
You're putting a lot of things out there and setting a lot of things into motion that it's scary. This isn't okay. Yeah.
It doesn't need to be said. There's a lot that doesn't, he's just really doing a lot. And it's like he is drowning. He's flailing. He's trying to stay above water. He knows that, he knows that if he loses, he's going to jail for tax evasion. He's probably going to be charged with all these, sexual assault claims, all
Honestly.
the stuff that he did in office that was probably illegal, they're probably going to try to come back. So it's like, honestly, he is flailing at this point. And
Yeah.
here's the thing that's scary to me. There are still some people out there that are willing to defend him.
And look
Oh,
past, and
he's
yeah,
not a politician. He's been a politician for 4 years. The moment he said he decided to run for president, he became a
he became a
politician.
politician.
Okay?
Exactly.
He's done debates before. He did a debate 4 years ago. Okay? Um, they're trying to say he's a businessman instead. Okay, he's a failed businessman.
Right. Why have you not had successful businesses your
Why
entire
were
life,
you able
sir?
to only pay $750 in taxes? Because if your business are failing that bad, that would be the only way that that is even possible. Okay? And wasn't that the whole reason we put him into office, because he was good for business? Like, it's just like lie after lie after lie, and he's a fraud. And what's crazy to me even is that people didn't vote for Hillary because she was a liar, because of the whole like the email situation.
Ugh,
But look at this. All he's done is lie since he got in office, since before he got in
I'm
office.
stressed.
And folks are just eating it up. Oh, but he doesn't count. Why doesn't he count? Why is there a double standard?
Mm. So here's something that we've got to look forward to. Senator Kamala Harris
Woo
and
woo.
Vice President Pence, Mike Pence,
I love
will
how
be
the
will be having their own debate, and that is going to be next week, October 7th. So tune in for hopefully a more well-mannered and coherent debate.
it will be.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that, honestly.